In today's video, you're going to be playing the best deck in the modern format. Mono red midrange is a list that I've been continually destroying in the modern format. While I prefer playing Obosh, this list recently got second place in a modern challenge. And the biggest difference is it gets Maze Mind Tome and Shatterskull Smashing. But this list does lose Obosh because we do play even cards. But why is this deck so powerful? It's because it plays the card Blood Moon, which is just game over against many decks. And with the added benefit of having the most amount of utility lands possible, getting to play cards like Blast Zone, and like to point out Field of Ruin. This is because when opponents are trying to play around Blood Moon, they're going to fetch their basics out. And in a format where there are very few basics, this is a great way to punish your opponent. So we are going to be taking this sweet list through League of Modern, and I'll be showing you why I know this is the best deck. Match 1, we're on the play, and hand looks great. We're going to turn 1 Mountain, holding up our removal. Opponent goes turn 1 Blood Crypt into a Ragavan, and we'll Unholy Heat the Ragavan. We find a Mountain, and we play it out. Opponent plays out a Swamp, and then dashes out a Ragavan, and we will Unholy Heat it. We top deck a Fable, we'll bolt in a Shatterskull Smashing, and then cast our Blood Moon. Opponent plays out a Mountain into a Seasoned Pyromancer, discarding Bolt and Fury, then cycles a Street Wraith, which means they're probably on Shadow. Relic's a good draw. We'll play out our Fable, then play out our Mountain, and then cast our Relic. Opponent cycles another Street Wraith, then evokes out a Grief. They take our Lightning Bolt and then cast a Feign Death on the Grief. Then they attack in with the team. Not sure why. We'll kill one of the Elementals. And then they cast out a Ragavan. We draw a Mountain in response to our Fable trigger. We pop our Relic so that we can loot away more cards if we drew 2 lands. And while Maze Mind Tome looks okay, it's a little too mana intensive, so we'll loot both of these away. We find land and a Spyro. We'll play out our land, cast out our Spyro, then we find Blood Moon and a land. Opponent plays out a Mountain, then attacks in with the team. We'll trade with Ragavan and kill the Elemental. We top deck a Ragavan. We'll play it out as a blocker, play out our field, and then hold Blood Moon. Opponent attacks in, we'll trade off our Rag, take 4, going down to 4. Ooh, we find a Fury. Amazing draw. We'll cast that out, killing their Grief. Then we'll copy our Spyro, discarding Blood Moon, drawing 2. Then we'll attack in. Opponent untaps, playing out a Shadow. We draw a Fable. We'll copy our Fury, killing their Shadow, and then attacking for lethal. And opponent scoots them up. Let's get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out 4 Blood Moon for 4 Spellbomb. Game 2, our starting hand looks great. Opponent cycles a Street Wraith, then shocks in a Blood Crypt, playing out Ragavan. We top deck a Flame Slash. We'll play out our Mountain, and then Unholy Heat this Ragavan now. Opponent plays out a Mountain into a Night's Whisper. We find a Spellbomb. We'll play out our Field of Ruin, and then dash our Monkey. When we exile a land, making a treasure. Opponent shocks in a Blood Crypt, then plays out a Spyro. Discarding Path of Peril and a Fury. We find another Smashing off the top. We'll play out a field and then use it on one of their Blood Crypts, getting a Mountain. And then we'll play out a Pyrite Spellbomb. They attack in for 3. Then cast an Obnixilus, sacking a 1/1. Down ticking with the first, getting a Devil, and ticking up with the second, dealing 2 to us, and they gain 2. We draw a Mountain, we'll play that out. Then cast out a Smashing, killing both of the Obs. Opponent evokes out a Grief, taking our Shatterskull Smashing, and then casting a Malkar Rebirth on their Grief, taking our Flame Slash. They attack in for 2, and then cast out a Whisper, drawing 2. Then shock in the Blood Crypt and play out a Shadow. We'll play our Blast Zone and hold up our Pyrite Spellbomb. They attack in with just these 3 creatures, so we fall down to 7. And on the end step, we'll use Field of Ruin, destroying one of their Blood Crypts, and they fail to find. We find a Maze Mind Tome. We'll play out our Ragavan, and then hold up Blast Zone and Chump blocking. Opponent attacks in with the team. We'll block their Spyro, then we'll throw the Pyrite Spellbomb at their face, because the only way we're winning this game is if we top deck a Bolt, and then we'll pop our Blast Zone. And after combat, they end up having a Lightning Bolt anyways, killing us, so let's get on to Game 3. Game 3, our starter looks great. We'll lead on turn 1 Mountain into a Ragavan, which they cycle a Street Wraith in response to. They fetch shock and then do nothing. We draw a Din. We'll attack in with our Ragavan, and it connects. Interesting. Finding a Bolt, so we'll apply out our Din and then cast our Fable. They shock in a Blood Crypt and then cast out a Shadow. We draw another Fable. We'll loot away our lands. Drawing land into another Fable. We'll cast a Lightning Bolt trying to kill the Shadow, and they have an Undying effect, bringing it back as a 2/2 with a +1/+1 counter. Then we'll evoke out our Fury, killing the Shadow, and then attack in with the team. We exile a Fury. We'll play out our other Fable. Opponent plays out a Swamp into a Spyro, discarding Grief and a Night's Whisper. We draw a Blast Zone. We'll loot it away, finding a Din. Then we'll attack in with the team, and they make these blocks, taking 0 damage. Then we'll play out our Din, passing back. Opponent casts out a Shadow, and then bolt our Reflection. We draw a Spellbomb and flip our Reflection. We'll play out our Spellbomb, and then opponent concedes here. Not necessarily sure why, but let's get on to match number 2. Match 2, we're on the play, and our starting 7 looks great. We'll go with the turn 1 tapped land. Opponent goes turn 1 Crypt into a Thoughtseize, taking our Fable. We draw a Din. We'll play that out. Opponent plays out a Mire. We top deck a Mountain, and then we'll play a Blood Moon. Opponent plays out a Castle. We draw another land for turn. Opponent plays a Swamp. We draw Unholy Heat. Opponent plays out a Mountain into a Dothy, and on their end step, we'll Unholy Heat it. Finally, we top deck something good. We'll play out our Mountain into a Spyro, which draws us a Bolt and an Unholy Heat. Opponent plays out a Mountain into a Fury, killing our board. We draw a Smashing for turn, so we'll use this to try and kill the Fury, and I misclicked. Love that. That's okay. Then we'll Unholy Heat the Fury after dealing only 1 damage off the Smashing, and they do have an Undying effect, so in response, we will bolt this. Opponent plays out their own Spyro, discarding a Blood Moon and a land, and then casting out a Dothy. And we find a Blood Moon. We'll hold on to that for Fable and Spyro reasons. Opponent attacks in for 6. And before damage, we will exile our Spyro token and trade off with one of the 1/1s. Then opponent casts another Spyro, discard an Undying effect, and then they play out a Grief, taking our Blood Moon. We draw a Smashing off the top. We will correctly play it this time, killing Dothy and a Grief. Opponent attacks in, we'll trade off with the 1/1, and then they cast out a Fable. We top deck a Maze Mind Tome. Not horrible. We will draw a card right away, finding a Ragavan, and we'll dash that out, attacking the opponent, and they trade off with their Shaman. They discard a land off Fable, then dash out their own Monkey. Ooh, we top deck a Fury! So good. We will play that out, killing both their Spyros, and on the end step, they exile Spyro, getting 2 1/1s. Fable flips, and then they cast out their own Fury. Then they dash out a Ragavan. We will scry in response so that they can't get something good off of our top. Cena Bolt. Yeah, I guess we'll bottom that because we'll die if we don't. They hit us down to 1, and Ragavan exiles a Spyro. Oh, they end up having a land too. Yeah, and we'll just scoop it up here. There's no way we're winning. Let's get on to sideboarding. Same as the first game, take out Blood Moons for spell bombs. Game 2, our starter hand is a little slow, but fine. We'll go turn 1 Mountain. Opponent plays out a Bloodstained Mire. We top deck a Spell Bomb. We'll play that out and then play a Mountain. Opponent plays a Mire. We top deck a Din. We'll play it out and continue playing Draw Go. And opponent fetched out 2 Swamps. Seems like they're afraid of Blood Moon. They shock in a Blood Crypt and we'll play out another Mountain we drew. Opponent plays out a Mountain, then casts a Spyro, discarding a Spyro and a land. And then they evoke out a Grief, which takes our Spyro. Then they cast a Feign Death on it, and we will bolt the Grief so it doesn't come back. And then on the end step, we will bolt down their Spyro. We top deck a Maze Mind Tome, we'll slam that, then play out our Soken'Zon. Opponent casts out a K command, killing our Maze Mind Tome and getting back a Grief. In response, we will draw a card with Maze Mind Tome, find another Spell Bomb, and they'll poke us for 1. We top deck a Relic, we'll play out our Smashing, then play our Relic, and play our Spell Bomb, emptying our hand out because we know they have a Grief in their hand. Opponent plays out a Mire, attacks in for 1. We draw a Bolt for turn, we'll activate our Din, and they bolt it before combat. On our end step, they crack their land, and we will pop Relic in response so that they can't activate a Spyro from the yard. Opponent plays the Grief we knew about, taking our Fable, and then attacking for 1. We draw a Blast Zone, we'll use a Spell Bomb to kill the Grief, saving Bolt for a Fury, and then play out our Blast Zone. They poke us for 1, and then they play out a Fable. So on the end step, we'll crank our Blast Zone up to 3. We draw a Shinka for turn, we'll pop our Blast Zone, killing their Fable so they can't loot. We'll bolt their Shaman, and then we'll hold land in hand for a potential Fable top deck. And another 1 damage. And on their end step, we'll cycle our Spell Bomb. Find a Maze Mind Tome. We draw a Mountain, we'll play out Maze Mind Tome and our Shinka. Opponent plays the Delta and attacks in for 1. On their end step, we'll draw a card with Tome. Then we draw a Din for turn, we'll play that out and cast our Spyro. And then we'll dash out our Ragavan that we drew. And Ragavan connects, exiling a land and making us a treasure. Opponent casts Thoughtseize, taking our Smashing, then casting out a Fury, and attacking in for another 1 point. And on the end step, we will activate Tome again, drawing another Ragavan. We find an Unholy Heat for turn, we'll cast a Ragavan, and pass back. Opponent attacks in with Fury, we won't block, and we'll Unholy Heat the Fury. And they do have an Undying effect, bringing it back, killing our Ragavan. And then they cast out a Fable. On their end step, we draw a card with Tome. We find a Flame Slash, we will kill their Fury, play out our Spell Bomb, and dash out our Ragavan. They block with an Elemental token, so we'll activate Shinka, giving Ragavan first strike. Opponent discards a land off Fable, then cast out a Kroxa, and dashing out a Ragavan. Then they attack with the team, so we'll use Spell Bomb to kill their Rag. We fall down to 11, and then after combat, they cast their Kroxa. We top deck a Ragavan, we'll activate Maze Mind Tome, gaining 4 and drawing a card. And we find a Relic, so we'll play that out and cast out our Ragavan. Opponent flips their Reflection, attacks them with Kroxa, we will jump block, and we top deck an Unholy Heat for turn, which gives us a clean answer to Kroxa. Opponent goes to combat, attacking in with the team. We'll activate Spyro from our yard, and we'll go for a double block on the Reflection. And they do have an Undying effect. Thankfully, we do have Relic, so when Reflection goes to the yard, we will pop our Relic. Ooh, Fable's a great draw. And a Flame Slash, so we'll kill their Goblin Shaman, and then cast out our Fable. Opponent does nothing, we top deck a Fury, we'll activate Din and attack in. Opponent cast their own Fury, and then Thoughtseize is ours. We draw a Relic, we'll play that out, and we'll cycle it, drawing into another Reflection. Opponent plays out a Delta, and then casts a Spyro, and then bolt our Reflection. We top deck another Relic, we will cycle it away with our Reflection, finding Blast Zone. Opponent attacks them with their Fury, so we will jump block. And on their end step, we will put 4 counters on Blast Zone, which means that we can sack it to kill their Fury next turn. We flip our Reflection and top deck our own Fury, and we will try and kill their Fury. Please no Undying effect. And they scoop it up. Let's get on to game number 3. Game 3 was somewhat close, but our opponent just didn't have any time. They end up timing out due to the chess clock that is on Magic Online, and we win because of that. Let's get on to match number 3. Match 3, we're on the draw, and hand looks fine. Opponent goes turn 1 mountain into a bolt. We top deck a bolt of our own. We'll play out a din into a relic. They play out advantage into a roiling vortex, meaning we are up against burn. Top deck another mountain. We'll pop our relic, find a blood moon, and then we'll play out another relic. Opponent plays out a tarn into a lava spike, and then suspends a rift bolt. We find another blood moon. We'll go mountain into a blood moon. This does turn off all their white spells, so it's okay, not great. And in their upkeep, they're going to cast this rift bolt, but it's going to deal 5 to them because of vortex. Love that. Yep, and they bolt us, dealing 3 to us, but they take 5 damage. Then they rift bolt us again. Not sure why they want to suspend this. We top deck a Ragman. We'll dash that out. Give us a lightning helix, please. And we get a lightning bolt off their top. We actually might win this game. So we'll bolt them. Now we do have lethal if they can't kill us this turn. Don't plays out a Mire. We draw a land. We'll dash out our Ragman. Attack in for 2. Oh, they have a Searing Blaze. Maybe dashing this was wrong. Not sure though. Probably. Seems like they don't have a burn spell though, or else we would be dead. So on their upkeep, we'll go for double bolt. And they both resolve and Vortex kills them. So let's get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out 4 relics and 2 blood moons for spell bombs and 2 dragon claws. Game 2, our starting is insane. Opponent goes turn 1 islet into a goblin guide, and guide reveals a fable. We'll go din into a Ragavan. They play out a Swift Spear and then attack in with the team, revealing a bolt. We'll attack in with Ragavan. We exile Lava Spike. We'll play out a Blast Zone, play out our Dragon's Claw, and then Lava Spike the opponent, gaining a life. They play a mountain and attack in for 3, revealing a Fury. And they brought in Wear Tear? Wow. Okay, so they destroy our Dragon's Claw, and we go down to 13. We'll evoke at our Fury, pitching our Shatter Skull Smashing, killing their team, attack in for 2, getting a Lava Spike, so we will spike the opponent, then play a land into a Fable. They play out a Mire into a Bolt, killing a Shaman, and then bolting down our Ragavan. And then we find a Ragavan off the top, so we'll dash that out, and opponent scoops them up because they know we have a Bolt. So let's get on to match number 4. Match 4, we are on the draw, and hand looks fine. Opponent goes turn 1 Verdant, and we'll go turn 1 Relic, playing around a Written. Opponent plays out of Foothills, and then grabs a Forest. Playing a Wall of Roots, looks like we're up against Yawg. We top deck a Spyro, we'll play a Field of Ruin into a Maze Mind Tome. Opponent plays a Blooming Marsh into a Strangleroot Geist, and no attacks. On the step, we will scry, and we see a Blood Moon, which we like. So we'll bolt in our land and play out the Blood Moon. Opponent plays out a Forest, and then cast a Chord for 4, sacking their Geist, drawing a card, then attacks us for 3. And on the end step, we will scry with our Tome, bottoming a Shatter Skull. We draw a Shinka for turn. We'll play out our Spyro, discarding Ragavan and a Fable. And we do find a Bolt, so we'll play Shinka for turn. Opponent casts an Eldritch Evolution and picks up a Hapatra, then plays out a Mountain and sacks Hapatra to put a -1 on their Strangleroot. So in response, we will bolt it. And then they sack it to put a -1 counter on our Spyro, drawing a card. Then they attack in for 2, which we will not block. And then in step, we'll scry, bottoming a Ragavan. And we find another one. So we'll dash out Ragavan and attacking with the team. And before damage, they evoke out an Endurance, sacking their Endurance to kill our Ragavan, drawing a card, and then they shuffle their yard into their deck. And then after combat, we'll play our land out and cast the Spyro, drawing in Holy Heat. And opponent scoops them up. Let's get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out 4 Ragavans for 4 Stone Brains. Game 2, we're going to have the Muller 7, and we'll end up keeping our 6. Bottoming a Fable. Opponent goes turn 1 Forest into a Might. We draw a Spyro and go turn 1 Tap Land. Opponent plays out a Wall of Roots and attacks in for 1. We draw a Field of Ruin. We'll evoke out a Fury, pitching a Seasoned Pyromancer, dealing 1 to the Haywire Might and 3 to the Wall of Roots, and then we'll bolt the Wall of Roots, playing out our Din. Opponent plays out a Geist, attacking for 2, and missing their land drop. We draw another Spyro, we'll go Field into a Blood Moon. They play out a Noble Hierarch and attacking for 3. We draw a Relic. I'm not sure if this is right, but we'll slam a Spyro. Finding a land and a Blood Moon, not great. Opponent casts an Eldritch Evolution, sacking their Geist, and picks up a Yawgmoth, then attacks in for 4. We find a Flame Slash, we will cast that on the Yawgmoth, and they sack their Hierarch to put a -1 on their Geist, and then sack their Geist, putting a -1 on our Spyro. And again, we're holding Blood Moon for a potential top decked Fable or a Spyro. Attacks in for 3 after playing a Swamp. Ooh, and then they slam a Grist. That's a hard one to beat. They tick up, getting double activation. Pretty good. We top deck a Bolt and no attacks from us. They tick up with Grist, play out a Mountain into a Hierarch. Then they attack in for 2. We're down to 8. And we top deck a Smashing, and after looking at the board for a while, we just have nothing to do, so let's get into game 3. Game 3, our starter is a little weak, but we'll keep. We'll go turn 1 Mountain, holding up Heat. Opponent goes turn 1 Forest into a Hierarch, which we will kill. We top deck a Blood Moon, good draw. We'll slam our Maze Mind Tome. Opponent plays a Mire into a Haywire Might, and sacks it, killing our Tome, and we'll scry, bottoming a land. We draw an Unholy Heat, we bolt in our land, and then cast a Blood Moon. And Blood Moon's better than Fable because we do not want them playing a Grist. They play out a Forest into a Hierarch, into another one. We top deck a Spyro, we'll Unholy Heat one of the Hierarchs, and then cast our Fable. They cast out a Geist into a Yawgmoth. Oh my Fury, that's such a good draw. We'll attack in with our Shaman, and they block. Oh my god, this is so good for us. Yeah, yeah, we'll cast a Fury, and we will kill everything on their board except for the Yawgmoth, kind of. They cast out a Geist, and we draw another Fury, flipping our Reflection. We'll attack in for 6. And this might look weird, but we're evoking out Fury rather than casting the Spyro, because the only way we lose this game is if they somehow cast a Yawgmoth next turn, and then opponent scoops them up. Let's get into match number 5. Match 5, we are on the draw, and starting hand looks great. An opponent reveals Chancellor of the Draws. They go turn 1 Swamp into Okiba Reckoner Raid. Looks like the mono black burn deck that I played like a long time ago. We'll go turn 1 Mountain into a Relic. What? Opponent plays Forbidden Orchard. I'm so lost. We top deck a Maze Mind Tone. Great draw. We'll play that out. And on our instep, they activate Orchard, giving us a 1/1, and then Rakdos charm our Maze Mind Tome. What is going on? And we'll scry with Tome, bottoming this Unholy Heat. Opponent flips their Okiba and then plays out a Sphere Springs. Then casts Sword Point Diplomacy, which if you haven't seen this card, it says reveal the top 3 cards of your library. For each of those cards, put that card into your hand unless any opponent pays 3 life, then exile the rest. So we'll exile Soul Reap and Gonti's Machination, taking 6 and only letting them have a chance of Dross in hand, and we go down to 9. No land for us. We'll pop Relic, then we'll Flame Slash their 2/2 and attack in for 2. Opponent plays out a Swamp, casts a Sovereign's Bite. We top deck another Ragavan. We'll dash 1 out, attack in for 4, and we exile a Soul Reap, and they bolt us in combat still. Then we'll cast out another Ragavan, and they top deck a Bump in the Night, killing us. So let's get on to sideboarding, and we're gonna take out 2 Blood Moons and 4 Relics for 4 Pirate Spell Bombs and 2 Dragon's Claw. Game 2, our 7's 2 weeks, so we got them all. And our 6 has Dragon's Claw, so I think we got to keep. And we'll bottom a field. Opponent still has pre-game actions, revealing a Chancellor, dealing 3 to us. We'll go turn 1 Den. They go Blackclave Cliffs into a Bump. We draw a Blast Zone. We'll play out our Dragon's Claw. Opponent plays a Swamp and then has the god dang Rakdos charm again. Well, at least we gain a life on the way out. We draw a Pirate Spellbomb. We'll play out our Fable. Opponent plays out an Orchard. We draw a Mountain. We'll loot away our lands. Oh my god, we found another Dragon's Claw. Let's go. We'll cast that out into a Ragavan, and then we'll attack in for 2. And opponent scoops them up. Let's get into game 3. Game 3, our starting hand's a little slow, but Dragon's Claw has to be the best card in the deck, so we'll keep it. Opponent goes turn 1 Swamp into a Gonti's Machinations. We find a Blast Zone. We'll go tapped red land. Opponent plays a Sulfur Spring into a Rain of Gore. Haven't seen this since Heliod days. Wow. We find a Flame Slash off the top. We'll play out a Spell Bomb, play out another tapped red land. Opponent casts out an Okiba into another Okiba, and we top deck a Ragavan, so we'll cast it out, and then cast out Pyrite Spell Bomb. I don't know. Looking at Rain of Gore in their deck that gains a lot of life on their own seems really weird. So we both take 2 off the Okibas. Then they cast another Machinations into a Bump in the Night. And on the end step, we will crack a Spell Bomb, drawing a card, finding a Fury. We top deck another Fury. We'll attack in for 2. And we exile a Serrated Scorpion, which just ends up dealing 2 damage to both of us, so we won't cast it. And we'll just hold up Blast Zone activation. Opponent flips both their Akibas. And we'll pump our Blast Zone up to 2 here. We draw another Bolt. We'll evoke out a Fury, discarding a Flame Slash, dealing 2 to each of their creatures. Then attack in for 2, which exiles a Shatter Skull Smashing. And we'll just hold up our bolts here. And nothing again from the opponent. We draw a Fable. We'll attack in for 2. And now we have lethal with 2 bolts and a Pyrite Spell Bomb. But we'll wait till their upkeep. And their upkeep, we will bolt them. And in response, they sack a Machinations, which gains them 3 life and makes us lose 3. But with Rain of Gore, they lose 3 as well. So they're going down to 4. And they sack the other one as well. All right. I guess we got a 5-0. That was a very strange league, but we ended up getting a 5-0. Don't know how I feel about Tome. Think it's not very good. But anyways, I appreciate you guys for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe. And if you want to see me live on Twitch, the link's down below. See you all in the next video.